Welcome to LaughWhores, everybody.
Yeah.
LaughWhores is a comedy show based here in Arlington, Virginia, designed to expose the DC metro area to the up-and-coming young comics of the area. I'm sitting here with a very interesting comic, performer, a very interesting guy. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm here with burlesque artist Stach.
Stach. You love you, Stach.
Anyway, Stach, tell me, how did you come up with this interesting concept? When did you start this?
Well, I started stand-up about 5 years ago, going to open mic sessions. But like half the time, I would get nervous, my voice would crack. Nobody would want to laugh if they saw me sort of struggling or something. And I was doing attending a lot of burlesque shows. There was a class that was being offered. I had some ideas for routines. I just thought it'd be a kick to do that. And the great thing about doing burlesque is I didn't have to say anything. I just do my routines, get a reaction from the audience. I started coming back a little bit to stand-up because I'm not sure why. I'm trying to figure this out, but it seems like there's a huge demand to see old men take their clothes off on stage. And so I'm not getting as many gigs as I wanted. But
maybe you can do like a Charlie's Angels type thing, where you're Charlie and then you have these beautiful girls and then maybe somewhere in there they turn the tables on.
I like the idea. If you get some angels for me, I mean, we can go with this. I mean, yeah.
I can find you some angels.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That'd be your
So,
pimp, man.
anyways, now with the stand-up, it's not so hard anymore. I can like look at an audience and say, I've been in front of you without any clothes on, and I can talk. I can talk in a microphone. It's not going to be a big deal.
So it's like kind of the opposite, like where you're nervous, you picture other people in their underwear, but you're the one in their underwear. So that makes you comfortable?
It's pretty funny.
I would say it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to not spend too much time talking about this because I want you to get up on stage. I want you to show us exactly what you're talking about because I've seen you on can you tell people where they can see you?
My only regular gig is at a place in Vienna called the Soundry. And at the last Saturday of every month, they have something called Art Carnage, 4 hours of open space for performers. There's poets and an improv group, an in-house improv group, rock musicians, all sorts of performance arts, and they'll usually end with burlesque. And so I'll do burlesque then. Now, what I'm going to be doing for you, though, is there was one night I was at a different place with an open mic, and I was going to perform burlesque, and my CD didn't work. And I just left the stage, went home, and I was thinking, I should have pulled out one of my old stand-up routines. And saying, well, how would I explain my costume, though? And then it suddenly dawned on me that the costume would just dovetail perfectly with the routine I'd already developed. And that's what I'm going to show you.
All right, that's great. So when we come back, we're going to talk to Stach. We're going to see Stach do his thing.
Well, I know this is a comedy show, and there's some really funny people that are going to be coming up and performing. I'm not a comedian, that's the funny thing about it. Now, the people at work, they tell me they should come do these comedy things, and I don't get it because I'm actually a really serious person. So when I'm up in front of an audience, what I try to do is be socially responsible. And I'm usually the oldest man in the room, so I will convey some of the things that I learned in life that were really painful. And that way, you young people can learn this without going through the same trauma I did. For example, don't believe everything you read. Anybody here already figured that one out? You did? Okay, good. I just hope that it wasn't as hard for you as it was for me because, see, I get my heavy reading done when I'm at the grocery store, at the checkout line. There are all those newspapers there with like really interesting stuff like, who's cheating on who's had cosmetic surgery, who's anorexic, who's overweight, the stuff I care about. Well, a while back, there was a headline in one of these papers, and it said, vegetarian vampires discovered. They sucked the sap from trees. And, I mean, that amazed me. Because, here you have this whole new species of animal or plant, who knows what. And my friends at work who are like all hoity-toity because they read Time and Newsweek, they didn't know anything about it. And I couldn't understand, like, how a respected publication like the Weekly World News could get a story so wrong. It just really bothered me. I couldn't concentrate on anything else. I went home, and I was just, like, flipping through the channels mindlessly with a remote, and it ended on one of these dead stations, like, the Discovery Channel, something like that. And there was a show about making maple syrup. And you had, like, these old Vermont farmers. They were carrying buckets up into this mountain to collect tree sap. and it was cold. They were all bundled up, and they were moving really stiff. And it sort of occurred to me that if you didn't have the sound on, you might think that you were looking at a bunch of zombies, or vampires or something like that. And I bet you that's what the whole thing is all about, that this reporter couldn't figure out how to undo the mute button. He wrote this article. It was all bogus. Right? Unless, of course, they really were vegetarian vampires and they disguised themselves as Vermont farmers. Now, that would be a real serious problem. Because, the ones I saw, like, not only were they all old, they were all men. So there would be, like, no way that the species could propagate itself. Now, maybe they, like, take humans and transform them, but they were in the mountains of Vermont, and there just aren't a whole bunch of people out there. So it would have to be something that they do long distance. But like, the only thing that would connect them with people far away is the maple syrup. Now, pancakes is my favorite meal. So this would be really bad, because, like, I don't want to transform into a vegetarian vampire. So I've stopped eating pancakes. And I gotta tell you, it's a huge loss to me, because, like, not only is pancakes my favorite meal, but I usually went to, like, this diner near my house where there's this waitress, I mean, a really hot waitress named Rosie. And like, I was her favorite customer, okay? I know that, because the moment I would walk in the door, the first person that would see me would shout out, "Hey, Rosie, Rosie, it's your favorite." And it didn't matter what she was doing. She would stop. She would turn around with a big smile on her face. She would grab me by my hand and take me right to my table. I had a table of my own, like in the middle of the restaurant. And then she would go to the kitchen to get my food. It usually was already waiting for me. And, okay, I really like pancakes, and so I like to make a special deal, make it into a special occasion, all right? And this diner it's a nice place. It's really comfortable, but, for example, they don't have any tablecloths on the tables. So I bring a tablecloth with me. Okay. And I like this to be like a really pleasurable experience. And all of us, we all have, like, easy access to the tools that we would need to create pleasure. So. Okay. And I'm kind of guessing by now, some of you have probably figured out that I've got a few idiosyncrasies or peccadillos or something like that, Okay. One of them is I can't stand to eat using silverware that's been in somebody else's mouth. I mean, it doesn't matter how often it's been washed. I can't stand it, okay? So I bring my own knife and fork with me.
Oh, jeez. Take it all.
And I know what you're all thinking now, okay? You're probably saying to yourselves, this is going to be a mess, okay? Like, this old man, he's going to get, like, pancakes and syrup all over his mustache, all over his chest hairs, and I got it covered, okay? Because I bring a bib with me. Now, the weird thing is, when I put on my bib, I get the strangest looks from the people in the restaurant, and I'm guessing that they just figure that bibs are for babies and not for old men. So before I put it on, I just want to check. I mean, is anybody going to be offended if I wear a bib?
No.
No? Okay, good. Okay. So, okay, now, I'm ready to eat, and by now Rosie's got my food ready, because she, they're always expecting me at this place. And she brings it to me, and, okay, like I said, I love pancakes, and I've got a special way of eating them, okay? I want to make sure that, like, all the flavors get mixed together. So I'll take the butter, and I'll spread it on the top bun, and I'll put it, like, between the buns, and I'll make sure it's nice and greasy. I get my sausage, and I slide it between the buns, and I work it around, and I pull it out, and in and out, and in and out, and in and out. And at just the right moment, I pop it in my mouth. I squeeze, the hot juices come squirting out, and sometimes they dribble down my chin, and I get so happy and so excited. I lose myself in pleasure, and the amazing thing is that the whole restaurant is feeling my pleasure. I know this because everywhere you look, people have huge smiles, they're laughing out loud. How often have you been in a room full of strangers where everybody was laughing? Okay, it didn't happen today yet, right? Okay, and all of that is gone. Okay, I don't have my favorite meal anymore. Rosie's lost her favorite customer. The patrons don't have the shared pleasure, all because some writer couldn't figure out how to undo the remote button, the mute button, which is why I'm trying to tell you all, don't believe everything you read. Whoa, wow. Have any of you ever had this weird idea just pop in your head and out of nowhere? Because right now, I'm thinking that if I wanted to impress Rosie, I should go suck on an oak tree or some other hardwood. And the weird thing is I don't even know where to find an oak tree. You know, my neighbor used to have one, but it started dying a few months ago, and they cut it down last week. Do any of you know where I can find an oak tree? No. I mean, I really would like to find an oak tree, okay? I mean, look, I've been here teaching you something invaluable in life. Can you give something back, maybe? No? Okay, you guys are worthless. I'm busy. I'm out of here. My name is Stach. Don't believe everything you read.
Wow.